Hey Lan, hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I'm using pronouns. I feel like it's been a while since I've actually made one of these sit-down talk videos that's not a vlog or like a martial arts tutorial video. My life's been a little bit chaotic and I'm still trying to figure things out, so that's why it's sort of been a delay in more me sitting and talking videos. But today I sort of have a story in a way, and it's about one of the most physically painful ordeals I've experienced recently, and this happened on Friday night. Just a tiny bit of background context. So, I've been experiencing IBS for over 3 years, and experiencing abdominal pain has been part of my story for a very long time. And a few years, like in 2016, 17, 18, before I figured out it was IBS, or the doctors and me figured out it was IBS and that I was intolerant to different foods. And before I went on a low FODMAP diet, I experienced like moderate severe pain, physical pain, like in my abdomen every single day. It was my normal at that point in time. But after I went on low FODMAP, and especially now, like last year, the year 2020, 2021, and this year, it's mostly been under control. Pain is not completely gone, but it's sometimes it gets bad, but it dies down really quickly. And moderate severe pain or severe pain for hours straight has not happened since like 2018. It's mostly been under control, and the things that happen, like the pain that comes up, the nausea, the bloating, sometimes constipation, that sort of stuff, it's pretty normal for me. And I know like it's to be expected. It's nothing out of my normal. Friday night, however, was a completely different story. So I was at my partner's place, yes, and I already started getting pain before I left. I started getting really bad pain before, like an hour and a half before I actually left that place. Um, I'm not gonna spill details. I was like lying on their bed for a little bit to wait for the pain to die down, just a little bit, so that I could actually get up and drive home. It was an hour and a half home from my house to my house. I was lying on the bed a little bit. I'm like, it's a little bit better. But once I got up again, it started getting bad again. But it wasn't like severe. So I'm like, okay, this is not ideal pain, but it is tolerable enough that I thought I could physically drive. So I went out. I started driving. I was driving for like 15 minutes. And a lot of the way home for me from my partner's place is on a freeway. So freeway mostly going on 100 k's an hour. It was I started driving for like 15 minutes, and then it started getting worse, and I'm like, oh fuck. And I haven't experienced this type of physical pain in my abdomen for like 3 years, to this extent, to this degree, for this long. I was driving like 25 minutes, half an hour, and I hit a point where I couldn't drive anymore. I physically could not drive anymore, and then I pulled over on the emergency lane in the freeway. I have never in my life, never ever in my life, have had to use the emergency stopping lane on a freeway. But Friday night, I had to use it. I actually wanted to pull over like 5 minutes earlier, but they were doing roadworks on the freeway, and there was no emergency stopping lane on the left hand side. The left lane I was in was a main lane that traffic passed, so I couldn't exactly stop there and block traffic. So I was just hanging in there and just begging that there would be an emergency stopping lane come up soon, because I was in agony and I physically could not. I pushed it a lot. I did not want to drive. Every part of me was screaming, you need to pull over now. I couldn't really focus on the road. I was half focused, but my brain was just occupied. Mostly mental energy was occupied in trying to survive this physical pain all around my abdomen, severe abdominal pain. When I pulled over, I put like peppermint oil on my abdomen, so we had like some in the car, and that helped a little bit. But then I looked at my GPS. I'm like, fuck, I have another hour to go, and every minute that I was driving, it was fucking agony, and like it was torturous. It felt so torturous. Like I kept looking at the GPS. I'm like, oh shit, only 3 minutes has passed. I have 57 minutes left. Like when I drive without pain, it's no problem with me. And then I feel I go home like this, and then it's really fast. But when I was in pain, every single minute that goes past, I'm like, oh great, I still have this much to go. Oh shit, I still have this much to go. It was a fucking nightmare. So I was sitting on the side of the freeway for like 10-15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, this peppermint oil is helping. Um, I should say that I popped 2 Panadol pills before I started driving, thinking that it would help me alleviate the pain. But the Panadol seemed to have done nothing for me because the pain was exactly the same as like an hour and a half before. So I took off again, driving more on the freeway, and then um I was driving for like another 20 minutes, and then I'm like, oh shit, I need to pull over again. But then I didn't want to keep pulling over so frequently because I would never get home by then. I actually got home at like almost 12:30 a.m. even though I was supposed to get home without if I hadn't stopped multiple times, I would have gotten home at 11:20 p.m. I got home at almost 12:30 a.m. because I kept stopping and braking. Braking as in taking breaks because my pain got bad. And then I had to stop again. I stopped again, like, I wanted to stop 20 minutes, another driving 20 minutes, and I'm like, just keep going for a little bit longer. And I stopped again, and then after half an hour. And then I had another half an hour to go. I stopped on the side. It was still really, really bad. Um, I was like, I didn't know what to do to alleviate it. Typically, with my abdominal pain, when I lie down, it it dies. Like it dies, and then when I get up, it might be a little bit more painful compared to when I was lying down, but it doesn't just go to 0 100 again real quick, and that hasn't happened in like 3 years. So this night was very abnormal. It was really bad again. It was actually still bad, but then I just had to push through and I stopped again. It was still bad, and I'm like, fuck, it was half an hour to go. And typically when I drive, I can drive a long distance. Typically when I drive, half an hour is nothing. Especially that time of night, no traffic, half an hour, driving like a breeze. There's like, I don't even think about it. But again, in this severe pain mode, every single minute was hell. And I'm just like, oh my god, how am I supposed to get home? Like, if there was someone with me, I would have just like told the other person in the car if they had a license and could drive a car, like, and if we were going home, like someone in my family, but like, you drive now, I'm not driving anymore. But I was the only one driving, and it was only me, and no one was coming to save me. Like, no one in my family, they were like literally all asleep. No one in my family was gonna get into a car, drive all the way up to me, and like come pick me up. Like 2 people in my family, because one person would have to drive the car from home, the other person would have to drive the car that I was driving. No one's coming to save me. So I'm like, it's either I drive home or I sit and park on the side of the road overnight. After the second break, as I started taking off, I saw a McDonald's, and I'm like, I should stop over and pee. Maybe that would help me alleviate my pain. It was a 24-hour McDonald's. I did stop to pee. It helped a little bit. And then I went to the back seat of my car, and it was just lying there. I was just lying there. Lying there. And I'm like, it was a little bit better. And then it got bad again, even when I was lying down, which is really abnormal because, again, when I lie down, when I have experienced bad abdominal pain, when I lie down, it usually just dies down. This time I was lying there and it was still severe. And I'm like, this is really, really abnormal. And I was lying there for like 10-15 minutes, and then it was not dying down. And I'm like, wow, it's either I try to drive home and push the last half an hour, or I stay in my car in this 24-hour McDonald's car park overnight because this pain is not going to die down anytime soon. If I lie for 3 hours, it's still going to be here. And I knew that because it had been going on for like 4 hours straight already and it had not improved. And I knew that it was not going to improve anytime soon. So I really didn't have a choice. I lined up my car at McDonald's overnight, or I try and push it. And I didn't want to push it, but I had to push it. Otherwise, I would be outside all night in my car in a parking lot. And again, no one's coming to save me. The only help I could have gotten is to call an ambulance, and I did not want to call an ambulance. I didn't like truly feel the need to call an ambulance and go to hospital. That's why I didn't call an ambulance. But yes, it was horrible. But eventually, I got home at like almost 12:30 a.m. And now reflections of the story. Firstly, I have a pretty high pain tolerance because I've experienced physical pain from like IBS and my first medical condition of my leg. So physical pain is not abnormal to me. Like I've lived with physical pain for like half my life. It's not like something very unfamiliar to me. So when it comes, I'm like, yep, okay, physical pain again. And I can typically do things still. Like right now, I still have pain. I still have pain from like Friday night. Like it's still like lingering. It's not gone yet. And sometimes it gets moderate level, but it's not as bad as Friday night. I still get paid. And still, I can still do things. I can still film YouTube videos. I've driven when I have like mild abdominal pain before. Like I can still do things. But the pain on Friday night, that broke me. Like having to pull over on the freeway in the emergency stopping lane said something because again, I've never had to use that lane in my life and I've experienced bad pain before, but not to that extent that physically impairs me from continuing to drive. Like even if I am strong and have experienced a lot of physical pain in my life, there will eventually, well, Friday night really reiterated, or I say reignited the idea in my head that, you know, there is pain that exists that will break me, that will physically incapacitate me from doing stuff, even driving home. Second thing is that sometimes there is no one to come and save me, and the only person I can rely on is myself. Um, this is slightly off topic, but I watch Active Self Protection a lot, so they're like a self-defense YouTube channel, and then John Korea, the host of the videos, tends to reiterate, in self-defense, no one is coming to save you. Like, you are the primary agent in your own defense. And even if there are like a bunch of people around, it's like, don't expect anyone to come and save you in a self-defense context. It's like, no one's coming to save you. And that like line that he kept reiterating in a self-defense context came to mind on Friday night, and I'm thinking, no one is coming to save you, Lev. You have to go through this. But physically, no one was there, and no one was going to come and like rescue me and drive me home. And I had to rely on myself in this case, regardless of how fucking painful it was and how much I wanted someone to just come and just pull me out of this situation. There was no one to come and save me. And this ordeal, it is an ordeal, I'm calling it an ordeal, really pushed me mentally. It really did push me mentally. Because it's like my goal was to survive, get home without getting into an accident. That was my goal. Get home without getting into an accident. Regardless of how much pain you're in, get home alive without causing an accident. Took a lot of mental energy to focus on the road and try not to pay attention to this pain that is just registering so strongly in my brain. It's like just surviving pain, physical pain of that nature in of itself is a mental it's a mental demand, and having to focus on driving is just another layer. But somehow it's like I had to really dig deep for this ordeal and pull through. Unless I want to stay in a McDonald's parking lot 24/7 until morning. Also, Panadol, like painkillers, didn't help me at all. Oh, it didn't. I couldn't seem to like differentiate the. If it did work to a degree, I couldn't differentiate between the pain I had before taking it and the pain even a few hours after taking Panadol, Optizol. So in this case, medication didn't seem to save me either. So or help me either. So it's like truly have to rely on myself to get through the ordeal. And I think like the determination to like get home and like get home alive and not have to stay in McDonald's parking lot 24/7 overnight, the 24/7 parking lot overnight really did help, because if I sat there or like lay there in the back of my car at that McDonald's parking lot and think, well, fuck, I am doomed for life. There is no way I can go home. There's no way I can drive home. Well, I'm just defeated now. I guess I reside here overnight and just see what happens, and maybe I can drive home in the morning. If my thought process was I'm fucked and there's nothing I can do about this, then I think I don't know if belief helps alleviate pain. Maybe, I don't know. Its gut brain connection is very complicated and I don't know enough about it to talk about it. But I definitely do think if my headspace and my thought process was that, like being helpless sort of thing, like, okay, this is an ordeal, I'm in fucking severe pain, I have a half an hour left to drive, and oh, I can't push the rest, then there is no way I would have been able to make it home if my thought process was like that. Another thing is, I also thought, I've driven an hour. This fucking pain is here. I managed to drive an hour to get to this actual McDonald's that I'm resting at. So I've done it twice before. I've driven half an hour, another half an hour block, and then now it's only another half an hour block until I get home. And that also helped, like thinking, I just did this like 15 minutes ago before I pulled over again. I just did this. I just drove in fucking severe pain. As much as I didn't like it and as much as it drained me mentally, I did it. Somehow, somewhere, deep down, I pulled through. That's how I got here. And now I just need to do it again one more time. Then I get home and lie down on my bed and rest overnight and rest the next day, which is yesterday. And that's what I did. Like, I'm like, Lev, this is fucking painful, but you are not staying here overnight in this 24/7 McDonald's parking lot. You're gonna gather whatever fucking strength you have left inside of you, and you're gonna push this last half an hour. And as I got closer and closer to my house, I'm like, okay, 15 minutes. Even 15 minutes left, it was so bad. I'm like, fucking pain. I'm like, fucking 15 minutes. It's only 15 minutes left until I get home. Then only 10 minutes left to get home. Only 5 minutes left until I get home. Only 200 meters till I get home. And once I got home, I just lay down right away. I just lay down and I just lay there. I just lay there. I lay there. Until I was slightly better, and then I went to clean my teeth, brush my teeth. I didn't take a shower that night. It was the first time in my life that I did not take a shower in over 24 hours. I always shower every day. And this is the first time I've skipped a shower day, but I was just in so much pain that I'm just like, I just want to go to bed. And honestly, I couldn't sleep properly that night either. It was like, I felt like I was semi-conscious the whole night, even though I'm pretty sure I got somewhat deep sleep, but I felt like I was semi-conscious. I was aware of me turning left, right, center the whole night, and the pain just hit. Like, it was a period of it's better, less pain, and then there's a period where it's fucking severe pain again, and then it went down again. Oh, okay, slightly better, and then fucking severe pain again. And that whole thing repeated all night, and it messed up my sleep. That was Friday night sleeping to Saturday morning. Last night, Saturday sleeping to Sunday. Today is Sunday, I'm recording this on Sunday. Last night, it was slightly better, but I still felt I was semi-conscious the whole time, and I still felt pain. And now I'm just recovering from that entire Friday ordeal. I don't know what the whole like lesson of this ordeal is, but in a summary, I could say that it's really ingrained into my head how capable I am of doing things, despite how hard and incredibly, ridiculously, unbearably painful something is. I can get through it, even if it means taking more breaks, even if it means slowing things down a little bit, even if it means doing things differently. I can get through it regardless of how painful an ordeal or an event, or how difficult, or not just physically difficult, it be mentally difficult, emotionally difficult, whatever the case might be. There's always something inside of me that there's always a part of me inside that knows that I can get through it, regardless of how bad it gets, and how long I take to get through it. One way or another, I will get through it. And the power of belief definitely plays a role in this. I hope you enjoyed my story. I apologize for all the profanity. I think I just need to let out all my rage and the stress and stuff like that. So actually, I'll flag in the description that I'm using a lot of profanity in this video. Thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you in the next video.